You're watching The Angela Anderson Show, helping moms live their dream while taking care of their family. Like, follow, subscribe, and share. Let someone know The Angela Anderson Show is here. And now, live on set, none other than host extraordinaire, Angela Anderson.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Angela Anderson Show, where we help moms live their dream while taking care of their family. I'm your host, Angela Anderson, and I am so excited that you are here with me today. Let me tell you a little bit about this show and how we got started. This show is a result of a virtual summit that I hosted during the summer of 2022. It was called Get Your Life on Track, Walk in Your Purpose. The focus was on mothers who wanted to identify their purpose and live it fully while taking care of their family. For 14 days, I interviewed top speakers and influencers who shared information and useful tips that assisted mothers in finding their purpose, pursuing their goals, and living their dream, all while taking care of their family. There was such a popular demand, so I created this talk show where I will continue to empower moms out there to see their value, understand their importance, and reclaim their identity. So as a sequel to my first virtual summit, I'm presenting Get Your Life on Track with Courage, Walk in Your Calling. And the summit is going to be right here on the Angela Anderson Show. So after speaking with moms in every walk of life, lack of courage is the barrier that is preventing many from achieving their goals, living their dream, finding their purpose, and walking in their calling. So we're going to dive into that subject of courage, activating it, and overcoming fear. So today I have a special guest with me. Right now she is behind stage, just excited to come out. But I want to introduce her in terms of her bio. And her name is Candice Leanos. Candice is a devoted advocate for family well-being, drawing from her own life's journey to inspire others. As a homeschooling mom of 5 children, she understands the importance of balancing education and personal growth within a family. With a strong foundation in family ministries, Candice emphasizes spiritual growth and community building. She holds various certifications, including nutrition, fitness, nursing, providing her with a comprehensive understanding of health. And I would say that is very comprehensive. As a member of the International Association of Professional Wellness Coaches, Candice is dedicated to empowering families to lead healthier lives. Through her coaching and speaking engagements, she encourages others to overcome challenges and to embrace wellness. So we're going to be welcoming Candice right after this commercial.
Someone once said that life is a journey. Every now and then I convince myself that I have it all figured out. All of a sudden, life throws me a curveball and I find myself between a rock and a hard place. Through it all, the pervading theme is that God is constantly pursuing me. Just when I thought I knew God, He reveals Himself to me in a different way. I now realize that His purpose is to achieve a deeper level of intimacy with me, no matter what it takes. His main concern is the end result, which is to live with Him in eternity. He loves me that much, and the same holds true for you.
Hey, Candice.
Hello, hey. I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you who are familiar with the book that we just had the commercial, that's my devotional book that I wrote. So if you do not have your copy, it is available on Amazon and it's in Kindle format. Get out there, get yourself a copy. So, Candice, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And today I want to talk to you just very candidly. First of all, I think it's amazing that that you are a coach, and because I am also a coach, so we have quite a few things in common as we were talking, and as we met. But I want to first just allow you to talk about your coaching, your current business that you have. How did you first come about getting into that business?
So very interesting enough, I did not know much about coaching at all. It wasn't like this goal that I really set out, but what I was doing was I was sharing my testimony with many different people. And I had this opportunity to learn more about public speaking. And I was working with a pastor, and she suggested to me, she challenged me to start a business. And I was just like, okay, like, where do I begin with this kind of business? And I did, again, I have such a passion for helping others, and growing up in Chicago and in having this extensive story as being a teen mom, even starting a business just seemed like something that was just kind of out of the reach for me. Mm-hmm. So what I really thought about was maybe it would be better if I just shared what God has done for me. And it was very little in my thoughts. But as she started to challenge me, we started to figure out what was the best gift that I had to be able to share with others, because she kind of kept encouraging me, like, this is the best way to be the most authentic to your clients or to people that need help, and just being able to reach them wherever I'm most talented. And so I was a nurse for a little bit. I mean, when I say a little bit, it was very, very short-lived. Right. And one of the things that I struggled with as a nurse personally was making sure that I really cared very much about being an advocate for the patients. And sometimes I felt like the doctors may be so busy, and I understood the doctor's point of view because I worked behind the scenes with them, but maybe they didn't feel like they got the connection that they needed. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of became a passion for me to really want to help give a voice to what they kind of felt like voiceless. And even as a mom, as a teen mom in particular, and feeling like maybe people mistreated me or didn't understand, or kind of underestimating what my thoughts was, even as a patient or as a patient for bringing my kids in, wanted to make sure that their voices was heard. So that's kind of where it began, of like, okay, I have this kind of knowledge. So where can we start from here? And then we just kind of start ironing it out. And I went back to school and got a couple more certifications underneath my belt. And it just felt like God has just been leading me to a different, unique position that I did not start off with. Right. But yeah, it's been a beautiful journey.
I like that. I like, much of what you're saying, and maybe some of us can identify that as you had someone in your life, and sometimes God will do that. He'll send someone to guide us along the way, whether it's a friend, in your case, a pastor, whether it's a coach, or whether it's someone who, might recognize something in you and, just point you in that direction. There are times when God speaks, but we might not get it. And so we might need someone to come alongside us and get us in that direction. And one of the things you said, Candice, is, once you started doing it, you said, you know what, let's do this the right way. And then you started getting the certifications and started learning more about it, and, doing more, so that way you can hone in on this profession and actually do it well. So I commend you on that. Let me ask you something. While you were doing it, and as you were going, did you have any doubts you know, and if you did, what were those doubts? Did you have any fear? What were those fears? What was it like, just going into something that you had not gone into before?
The biggest doubt that I think I had was questioning, was I smart enough to actually help people? And I really struggled because both of my parents, I was blessed to have very highly educated parents. Both of my parents have master's degrees, and some of them, my mom actually has a master's degree in health education. My dad has a degree in education, and so he's a teacher. And I've already been in this weird position before with my family when it came to just homeschooling my kids. Like, was I even capable of doing that? And now my kids are kind of, they're doing well, and now those same doubts was coming back for me, even with having certifications. Was it enough? Would I actually be able to be used? And I think that what God was really trying to show me was learning to depend more on his strength in that time.
Yes.
And I did not have to, the more and more I struggled with trying to prove myself in these ways, I felt like God was really wanting me to find my way. He was trying to show me what it is that he wanted. Like, the certifications was great and they have been a blessing, but that's not even what has been the weight of what I do. It's been more so me sharing with others what God has done for me, and that cannot be questioned.
Right.
Nobody can question, the experiences that I have, especially in this unique position as a mom of 5 kids, and my kids are really, really distant in age. So from 21 all the way down to 4. When I started to lean in more of what he wanted me to talk about, the doubt. And I actually came across friends, unfortunately, that was like, hey, well, why don't you go back to school and, get your master's degree in this or that, and just learning what I do and how I'm different and learning where God has called me made me be able to walk in it better. But it was a struggle to know, am I enough? Am I smart enough?
Right.
Am I going to mess things up? Or, lots of self-doubt there.
Right. And I think a lot of us, even as moms, and by the way, we, in our audience, even though this show is targeted toward moms, we have a lot of people in our viewing audience who are not moms, and they still glean from the the principles and the little nuggets that we're dropping here. So that's all welcome. But a lot of times when we're pursuing something, we will first start to doubt ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
Am I smart enough? Am I good enough? Do I have what it takes to be this, what God is calling me to do? But God equips us to do it. He's not going to call us to do something and not equip us to do it. And a lot of times we already have it inside of us. It just needs to be unleashed. And whether that means taking your, first step out on faith and following through and watching God, as you said, Candice, open the doors and seeing things work. That's a lot of times what it takes, just that first step. There's a quote out there, and I don't know it word for word, but a lot of times faith is taking the first step without seeing the whole staircase,
Absolutely.
And it's relying on God, relying on what he's already placed inside of you, right? And going forward with that. So again, I commend you on that. And, and even as, as we're talking and you said you have 5 children, in my eyes, you're a super mom. I have two boys, which plenty for me, and, just being there as a mom of 5 children. You said that you homeschooled and all of that good stuff. And so what was the transition like in terms of you homeschooling and managing a business, being there for your children and then starting your business?
Oh yeah. So one thing that I think that God was perfect with his timing when he placed on me all of these different things. Because for one, I think that learning how to homeschool, learning the rules and contacting the state and even putting myself in that position was probably the foundations of me even starting my own business, is putting myself in these uncomfortable positions to learn, but then watch but also have my kids watch me learn this process at the same time.
Yes.
So when God brought this business idea on me, I think my youngest one, she's 4, she's almost 5 now, so she's probably about 3 at the time. But my oldest ones are already done. My 2 oldest ones was already done with high school.
Yes.
So it was at a good transition point where they didn't need me as much. And so there was a moment early on that I did not know, like, what am I going to do after I'm done with these kids? That weird season of doubt or, concern about my future.
Right.
And I think that when God placed this on me, it was just at that perfect season that it felt like it all just fell into place pretty naturally. It's like, hey, right now mom is learning. And we have a learning environment already. So while they did school, I did school. Matter of fact, one of my sons did the programs with me. So we just kind of incorporated it all together, where this is my learning season and you guys get to watch me learn. So now we're learning about business together. We're learning about how to sometimes edit videos or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
So how to build a website. My husband is a developer as well. So he's teaching me, we're teaching each other. So I really love to bring my family in as much as possible on everything that we do, because this should be a place where when mom is learning, when mom is moving up, that maybe it will help motivate them to continue to achieve their goals as well. So this was just a learning opportunity. It was not a big deal. They were like, okay, this is what we're doing next. It's always something for us. So this is where we were at now. This is our season. And just to learn to love this season that we're in and, and grow from it.
That's awesome. I love that. And just hearing it reminds me, I did an episode during season 1 on what they call, balancing. I said balancing is in everything. Okay. And it reminded me of what you just said, because instead of balancing, what I said is we need to blend. And sometimes that means bringing your family in. I love that your kids are watching you do this, and you're such an awesome role model for your children. I love that your children are a part of it, and they're also learning as you're learning. And so it's like a joint effort where everyone wins, and everyone benefits from it. And, the time that you're spending with them is also very valuable, because it's not just time spent together, but it's time spent being productive. And this is a seed and a plant, all of that's growing. It's all going to come together, and they can actually say, like that commercial back in the day, I learned it from watching you. So I love that. And also that your husband is involved as well. So another thing that you said, Candice, that I can't ignore, when you talked about enjoying the season that you're in, right? Sometimes as moms, we want to fast forward, or if only this, I wish I had more time. And I find myself saying stuff like that all the time, and I have to pull myself back and say, wait a second, but at this point in time, I can do this, and at this point in time, such and such, and enjoying your children. You were going to say something.
Yeah, it's exactly that. There was a huge point in my life that, like I mentioned it, that you sometimes develop resentment, especially when you're a stay-at-home mom and you feel like you're being so unproductive. And what God is doing is that there's so much that we're learning as leaders in our home that prepares us for other opportunities later. This is that season of growth and learning. And you know what? There are some people who maybe they have a different path on how they become leaders to this world. But the path that God placed me on, I remember when I started homeschooling, I did not want to. That was not like a part of me just felt like, why do I have to give up my life or my time, my career to do this? And I've wrestled with God, but God placed it on my heart so heavy that I could not even, like, it just felt like every time I would try to go against him, he made it so uncomfortable. And I mean, my kids, we moved to really good neighborhoods so that way our kids can go to some of the best schools. And then to see like, this is not where I want my, and that was God's plan for our family's life. And I did not know is the tools that he was going to be teaching me to prepare me for something else later. And so, that season is just so important. And we sometimes complain. And so like, if you're a 6-month-old, you have a 6-week-old or 6-month-old baby, maybe this is not the time to start a business, but maybe that's that time to bond with your child because that child is going to need it for, So I appreciate the seasons. And I say this all the time to moms, like, hey, they grow up. Trust me, I'm seeing it. Having a 21-year-old is like so unreal to me. Having a 19-year-old is so unreal to me. And to think about what my 4-year-old is doing now is like, man, I'm like loving every moment that I get to have because in hindsight, it's so easy to not appreciate those moments and learn from those moments because God is really, he taught me how to coach by coaching my kids in education. So, God does some wonderful things and we just have to just sit and be good, listeners and patient with him so he can teach us what we need to know to help us later in the future.
Exactly. That's exactly it right there. That is that's amazing. Just everything that you said. It's valuable information. It's from experience, and I know a lot of us as moms can relate exactly to that. So, the show is about pursuing your dream, and this series is specifically about doing it with courage. So Candice, before I prompt you to say, final words, hey, what advice would you give to moms on pursuing their dream and, holding it on tightly with courage? I want you to talk about your business that you have and the fact that you are a coach and what you're doing now. So please tell us.
Awesome. Yeah. So my business is My Piece of Health Coaching. It is a family health and wellness coaching. Now, we see lots of different kinds of health coaches, life coaches. And what I feel that God, first of all, I started off on a different direction where I was just coaching women to be healthy, to lose weight, to get fit. And that is still such a blessing. There's many people out there who does such a great job with that. But what I was finding was a lot of moms in particular, we will stop our own health journey if our life is a mess, or if our children are not healthy, or we have all these other things and schedules come in the way. And it's so easy. Like, I remember just feeling like, oh Lord, like, why am I losing so many clients? We almost get to these points where they can't reach their goals. And so what God was kind of reminding me is, how is it that I'm able to reach my goals as and so to simplify it, again, we just talked about this in many ways. It's about, as far as bringing our family back together, we might have our own individual goals, right? But the goal should be, it's how can I make my family healthier? And you can only be as healthy as you're going to be if life feels like a chaos for you at home. So I talk a lot about not only just making sure that we deal with those picky eaters, where sometimes those moms, we as moms, we want our kids to eat so healthy and we're struggling to make them, pick these right things, and learning how to just give grace learning how to model Jesus in our health and in our home in many different ways that we interact with our kids on a daily. And again, just stop and be more mindful with each other.
Yes.
And also bring the family together as much as possible. You know, we just shared with how I brought my family in with my business, but I bring them in with everything. So, you know, if it's going to be our health journey, like right now, we started up some new things again, and my kids are right involved. You know, it might be they're helping cook meals. It might be that they're helping to plan what we're going to do for family worship. But we talk about all the different avenues of health. And even when it comes to finances, we bring our kids right in on these journeys so that way they can understand, but learning how to unite the family better so
Right.
that as a family, we're healthy. As a family, we're stronger. And especially when we put God in that as well.
Right. I love that. And you see up on your screen, everybody, the website, www.mypeaceofhealth.com. Check Candice out and her
Yeah, there's lots
program.
of free resources out there on there, lots of free recipes and some thoughts on how to just keep your family engaged with one another. So you should enjoy that.
Lovely. Just great. Everyone, again, it's www.mypeaceofhealth.com. Check it out and take advantage of this. It sounds like an awesome program. And I know that as I'm listening, you know, what mom doesn't want, you know, and I love the way you wrote it, a piece of health, you know. You know, and peace and health are so you know, encompassing of so many different things.
And can I say something real fast about that too? Even coming up with that name was nothing but God, because honestly, I use the word peace because my 5 children's, the acronym for their names is peace.
What?
Yeah, so we have Patricia, Elijah, Armand, Caliana, and Ethan.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just so happened that I was like, well, I got to use the word peace. Well, I'm a health coach. And it just kind of like, oh, well, this works, you know. And I feel like God has, even through the title of this, have shown me my peace I leave with you, my peace. And he's shown me not only the peace that God has for my family, he also has for your family. And so I think that it was a testimony in itself about the name, but God has been just so good to our family. So this is just part of our ministry as a family to share others what God has done for us.
Candice, that's amazing. And I'm just getting chills just thinking about that and knowing that when God shows up that way in your business, as you're creating your business and as you're going with your business, you know, it gives you more faith, more courage to understand and know, like, wait, this is his plan. I'm just going to go with this. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And so just some final words from you, as we said before, what would you say to the mom who's out there still wondering, should I go with this? Should I, you know, start this business? Should I do what I know I should be doing? What would you say to her right now?
You know, I want to remind any person of the greatest commission that God has given us, and that is to go and tell the world about who he is. And I believe wholeheartedly the way that we do that is by just simply telling others what God has done for us. He wants to use our story for his glory. And so whatever it is, like I look at, you know, my family life has been a unique thing for many people, but man, that has been the foundation of our business. And so whatever it is that God has gifted you with, or the experiences that you have been through, those are the areas that God really wants to use to help someone else. And so don't just keep it to yourself. If he's given it to you, if he's brought you through it, those are the areas that God really wants to help somebody else. And so just pass on the love that he's shared for you and help someone else.
Definitely. And those are words of wisdom. Thank you so much, Candice. And for everybody out there, if you liked this show, let me know. Put it in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's at The Angela Anderson Show. Just keep scrolling until you find it. Hit the subscribe button. So that way you will be reminded every time it is showing. And it's important for you to watch because we are doing this series, Get Your Life on Track with Courage, Walk in Your Calling. So once you subscribe, again, you'll be notified. This show comes on every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on my YouTube channel. It also streams on my Facebook profile. And I'm on Spotify. So if you want the audio version, a matter of fact, they've upgraded to the video version. So if you're traveling and you want to, go ahead and look on Spotify, you can. And most recently, this is also streaming on LinkedIn. I realize that I have an audience of working moms who definitely want this information. So it is all there for you. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Angela Anderson Show. Candice, I just want to thank you for being on the show, for sharing your heart, for sharing your experiences. I am sure that there are moms out there who will benefit from what you said.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Most definitely. And for everybody else, thank you for watching. Take good care. Hey, thank you for watching The Angela Anderson Show. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you find it useful to you. I want to ask you something. Have you ever wondered if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you were called to do in life? A lot of times we hear, as moms, so many voices, the voices of our children, a spouse if you have one, our friends, our family, even the own voice that we have in our heads. But how do we know if that is the voice that we're supposed to be following? That's why I designed Hearing the Voice of God for Moms. This program is specially designed for you so that you can not only identify your purpose, but also receive the clarity you need to walk in your calling. So that's why I want you to reach out to me. I have this coaching program for you, and all you have to do is schedule an appointment with me and find out if this program is for you. www.chatwithcoachangela.com. Again, it's called Hearing the Voice of God for Moms, designed specifically for us. So that way we can take the courage and walk in our calling. So go ahead and schedule your appointment. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you this week.